and I think it's totally appropriate because that is the point. You need to be able to talk about the too muchness of the conversation in order to get anywhere. I mean, I have very traditionalist family friends, so like people either religion traditional or just in the way you operate in family dynamics, and it's still very much not just uncomfortable, like uncomfortable in a way that like festering wounds for 20, 40 years. And now again, kind of the shame builds. I've never even had the conversation. I Why should I bother starting now? I either don't have a period anymore or I'm about not to have a period anymore. I can finally not even have to think about it, which just makes me a little nervous. Okay, a lot nervous. I'm super nervous about that possibility for a lot of my friends. Like, what would you have to say to people that are realizing that they missed a big boat?
There's a little bittersweetness to that. I mean, I have to admit, right? Because I'm in a particular situation where I have endometriosis and I spent 20 years in a lot of pain. And then I figured out the diet and the lifestyle and the things that I needed to do to reduce the pain. So I'm already in that, and I have been for like 10 years now, where I've been like, boy, I missed out on 20 years that could have been better, that could have been more manageable, that could have been less traumatizing, that could have not left me with CPTSD. I could be in a better place now because I didn't have this information, right? So when I'm 80, I'm still going to be doing this work because it doesn't matter where I am. It matters for the people who could have those years. I can't get those years back, but I can give those years to someone else. So for me, it's very much a personal, if I can just, right, I started my business with the mantra, if I can stop one person from being in pain, I'll have won. That's really all I wanted to accomplish, was to help one person be in less pain during a period. That was it. That was the only goal I had. And it blew up from there. But that was the
Mm.
original goal. And to this day, that's still the goal. Now it's just another person instead of if I can just help one person. Now it's if I can just help another person. If I can help another person have a better, conversation with their kids. If I can help another person have a better experience through puberty because I encouraged their mom who's in menopause to have that conversation. Or I have that conversation. I mean, it's not like I don't have those conversations with the teens as the teens these days, because the mom may not want to or doesn't feel like she has the education for it. And so, here I come to do 2 hours with a group of kids. So it's one of those things where it's like, and if I can save somebody going through a PCOS or endometriosis or any of that kind of stuff and give them some level of relief, I feel like I'm fulfilling my mission on the face of the planet, right? Which is why all of those early trolls and all the ones that I just don't even notice anymore just sort of wash through me, because at the end of the day, when you're in a position of leadership where your goal is to make an impact and a difference for generations to come, to make life easier for the people who you know now and for the people who are coming up next, you're perfectly fine taking on the battering of the trolls and the naysayers and the really well-meaning people in your DMs, because that's not the point, right? You
Yeah.
have already been through it, right? Like, I've been through pain. I've been through the trauma. You buzzing on social media makes me giggle more than anything else at this point. So for me, it's very much that, have that conversation, even if it's just explaining what it was like for you, right? So
Yeah.
if you are postmenopausal and you have a daughter, a niece, somebody in your life who's hitting the menstrual phase of their life, even just telling them what pads were like in your day and what your health education class was and how your mom just threw a thing of tampons at you and said, read the instructions, and then walked away. Like, whatever your story is, telling that story, because we come to a place where you can see that people forget how we got there, right? People in the
Yeah.
country don't vote. Women don't vote, even though women died for our right to vote, and we forget, we get historical amnesia. So talking about what happened, talking about the struggles that you went through, talking about maybe if your grandmother mentioned something or whatever is good. We need to keep that stuff fresh, just like we need to talk about the women who sacrificed their lives for our ability to vote. We need to talk about what coming through puberty was like at the time so that it doesn't repeat itself. We need to stop repeating history in this case and replace it with honesty and education. And hopefully it won't be an awkward conversation for the next generation, right? Hopefully they'll be able to have that conversation. It'll be easy peasy for them.
Well, let me change it a little bit for Katie then, because it's kind of like,
I know, like I agree with everything you said.
and like menopause, now I am the person who is 45. I'm older than that. So when being that person, like knowing that that's not how you are talking to your daughter, that knowing that if you could parent yourself through menopause, how are you treating it?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really about, well, this is what I've always heard, right? And the older you get, the less fucks you give, right?
This is true.
Hopefully I can swear on this. So I think what I've witnessed, a lot of like really strong, independent women that I've just watched just really age in a way where they just do everything that they want to do and they feel it, and they're not worrying about what other people think. I remember when I turned 30, I was like, no more BS, like this is it. And then I turned 40, I was like, oh no, like this is it. This is when I really feel it. And then like when I turned 50, I feel like that's going to even be stronger. So I think if I had to parent myself and really talking about all of this, is stay true to yourself and really speak loud and speak up and get what you need in terms of perimenopause and menopause. It's like my mom, basically her doctor was like, eat lots of soy. That was like the only thing that she got. So she was eating tofu, but she was also eating a lot, like drinking soy milk and soy yogurts and processed soy. So the information that we have now is so different than 20, 30 years ago. And really taking the time, listen to our podcast, get really educated, but speak up and speak loud. If you are having hot flashes, let's figure that out. If you're having night sweats, let's figure that out. If you're having brain fog, I always tell my clients, do not go to the doctor's office without a list of questions, and let them know that you have questions that you want to get answered and that you're not leaving until they answer your questions. This is a time to get really loud and really proud in your body and ask for what you need. So I think if I was parenting myself and I was looking back for everything that I went through, I think every health challenge I've had, I've gotten louder and I've gotten more concrete in asking for what I need and what I want, and talking about it with other people and hearing what their experience is. Be like, okay, have you tried hormone replacement therapy? What was that experience for you? What do you think really helped? So that when I'm talking with my doctor, I can actually share some situations and be like, well, what do you think based on like my lab work? What do you think based on my symptoms? Where do you think I am? So I think it's like really parenting yourself is just like really, as a parent myself, I'm always, my kids are 4, so I'm letting them speak for themselves, but if something bad happens to them, I'm stepping in. I'm being that leader in that way. So I feel like being a leader in your life is really about just not taking no. And like, you don't have to have a bad experience. It might not be the best experience of your life, but it doesn't have to be the worst experience. And I think unfortunately with every corner, right, every new challenge that we face as women, oh, that's going to be the worst thing ever. Oh, this is going to be even worse, right? It doesn't have to. Like, the marketing is horrible for women. It really is.
Level of like all quintessential life transformations, right? Like going through being preteen, even like in movies and as a girl, right? It's always like this
Like, oh,
horror
horrible.
story.
Well, I remember
Totally.
being pregnant and like everyone's like, oh, your life is going to be over. You're never going to travel again. You're never going to do this. I'm like, why?